All right, I think we're live. Michael, welcome back for another freaking Thursday. Thank you for coming on here.
Absolutely.
What you been up to today?
Oh, signed a couple foreclosure deals this morning and tracking some really hard to find people down. Had some success with that. So
those are always the best. I was texting you the other day, and I know I have, so much bandwidth for my crew. I'll wait for a few more people to get in because I jump into the questions so early. And what I want to do, we'll do a little bit of housekeeping just so everybody knows what's going on. If you guys are live with us right now on Instagram, come on over to YouTube so we can see your questions. And I want to just remind everybody that we do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock Arizona time, which is 2 p.m. Central time right now.
Yep, 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Central time.
Until a few months from now when you switch it back on me and I'm confused again.
I don't know. I've just copied off of the way things have been done out here, so it move everything around on me. I'm sorry, but everybody, we do this. It's a bonus. It's a value add. We want to just help new people that are getting started, or we wish we would have had a little bit more insight. And I think you got the message from Eddie on Instagram yesterday because you tagged me. Eddie came on to one of my videos. He'd been in the sub-2 community that we were part of for 2 years and had not done a deal.
Okay.
And he copied our strategy in 30 days, door knocked. He's like, I'm done. He got rid of his dialer. He's not dialing anymore. He's only door knocking now. Got a property under contract in less than 30 days, assigned it, and they made $26,000 in total. He's taking 50% of that. Yeah.
Let's go.
Super sweet. I hope he comes on here because I was like, dude.
I want to know how many doors he knocked to get that $26,000 rip.
Well, for that door, he had to knock it 4 times before he got a hold of the owner and had 2 more conversations.
Good.
And in less than the 30 days, he also has 5 other hot leads that he's working right now.
Hey, my man.
Pretty sweet. So I thought it was pretty cool. And I say all of that for all the new people that are watching. You can make money doing this strategy. It is possible. It's worked out for us, and we know it works. That's why we're so passionate about sharing this with everyone. So for everybody that's on here, you can make money copying off of this.
Guys, I get messages almost every day from people that I don't know. I just got my first deal. I have 2 deals now. Like or little posts like that every single day. Guys, that brings us so much joy to hear about your success. So if you get a deal, don't keep it a secret. Let us know.
Tell us
about it.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. So if you haven't already, just grab the share button on YouTube. I think it should be down over here. Click the share button, share it to a few people so they can jump in here. We'll bring some people up on stage. Our goal is to just make this nice and easy. I had one other person who said, who was it? Like, man, I've been going through, it was Nick. I hope Nick Mendez comes on here. He's like, man, I went back to your very first lives with Michael, and they are so good. I've started on video 1, and I'm catching up to everything. And I said, have you seen us repeating ourselves a lot? And he's like, yeah. I was like, and I know it works because you keep repeating it and saying the same thing. So you haven't changed your information at all. I was like, yeah. So that's really exciting. Anyways, guys, jump on. Tell us where you're from. What questions do you have? Let's get after it. I know this is a new guy that I just met earlier this week. This is Blake. He's joined, and I had a conversation with him the other day because he was talking about potentially keeping a property. And I was like, well, why do you want to keep this? Well, $100 a month change your life, or will $10,000 right now change your life? He's like, well, I really want to, $100 a month would be great. And I was like, perfect. All your debt's paid off? And he was like, well, no, I have a mortgage. I'm like, okay, all your bad debt's paid off? Because that's good debt. We can keep a mortgage. Well, no, I need to pay off some bad debt. I was like, why would you want to take on another liability when you could just get rid of this, get some breathing room, not worry about your credit card debt that's 28% interest? So Blake, I have told him, wholesale everything, copying off of what we've talked about quite a bit. So I know he's brand new. And he's still looking to learn how to start door knocking leads. I know I'm overthinking it. So Michael, we've talked about your first story when you started door knocking. I still get nervous. I actually hopped off a Zoom where I was showing people how much I get rejected via phone calls. I got hung up on 3 times an hour ago so people could see. What would you say if you're restarting, if you're thinking about, like, if you had this, if you were overthinking it, what would you say to Michael from 2016?
So my door knocking came out of necessity. I was down on my luck, didn't have a whole lot of funds. My wife was giving me grief for pouting on the back deck. And I just saw an opportunity and I didn't even think twice. Like you said, you're overthinking it. If I have one good quality about myself, it's that I'm willing to take action immediately without thinking about it. So I walked over to the house, I door knocked it, didn't think about a script, didn't look up anything, didn't look up the value of the house, knew nothing about what a foreclosure was or how to handle it. I just went up there, said the same thing that I always say. Hey, my name is Michael. I noticed your lender was giving you grief and there's a foreclosure sale next week. How can I help? Made a $50,000 rip. So stop thinking, period. Go find some leads, 5, 10, 15 different ones. Go out there and start taking action. Guys, everyone in this room is trying to do the same thing. Let's get some action going across the country. I mean, you see Caroline's YouTube, my YouTube, my Facebook group. Guys, people are getting results all over the country, but to get those results, you have to take action. Do not overthink it. And don't speak about yourself in third person, like Blake.
Blake is still looking. So, oh, here's Eddie. Eddie. There we go, Eddie. I want you to, I'm going to invite you up here really quickly. Eddie, I'm going to put it in the side chat. So it says StreamYard. Just make sure you get off of YouTube so you can come up on stage. We want to hear from you. I want you to tell Michael what you told me so we can hear everything. And then anybody else, let's just do, why don't we do that as a Q&A today? If you guys want to, just click that StreamYard link. Make sure you are no longer in the YouTube video, and we will pull you up on stage. But Eddie, I was just telling Michael about you, so I'd love to hear that. I love it. Tanisha's in here too, guys. Michael, I think you already know that, but Tanisha's doing some door knocking now. She's seeing them. She just closed the deal where she had a pre-foreclosure, probate, vacant, and it was also an expired listing. So she hit the trifecta of pain.
Expired listing too.
Yeah.
Taking it down sub 2, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know what you did with that. You should tell us what you did with that one on Tanisha. Well, while we are waiting for Eddie to come in backstage, I see that Blake is on here, so we'll bring Blake up really quickly, and we'll get to him, and then we'll get to Eddie. Blake, what's up, dude?
I'm just here to be obnoxious until I'm successful.
I can appreciate that.
Yep. The sad part is I have a 3-year background door-to-door sales. I just literally, I know you showed me the website auction.com. I can just go to any of those, even if the auction dates are like today, tomorrow, etc.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I can just write up a contract, get the auction to stop, or get to that point and say, hey, I fucked up in a good way. Somebody help.
So some of my first data was from auction.com. I would set up like a 20-minute radius from my house that I was willing to drive when I had very few pennies. So I would write all those down. Honestly, there wasn't even thought about what the equity was, any of that. It was just, oh, that's within my radius. That one looks nice. I would buy it. And that was the only thought behind it. So don't feel like you have to have this perfect system that can be developed down the line. Mm-hmm. But getting those data points and then going out there, putting in the reps, whether that be on the phone, whether that be driving and knocking on the door, whatever that might be. When you do these things, you're going to get opportunity. It's going to happen.
Fair enough.
You've done door-to-door. So what's the hesitation?
I feel like with door-to-door, I had somebody like, okay, knock this door. Here's how you sell. Here's how you sign. Here's how you stop it. And I like knowing everything from A to Z. I think the worry is I'm like, oh, I'm going to get to a point where I'm stuck and I won't know how to close it. So that's just.
And that's okay.
I've also done 6 wholesale cash deals, so I know how to wholesale. It's just I've not done anything with foreclosures yet.
You don't have to know everything. The good thing is that these sellers you're going to be working with, they don't know how to deal with it either. Otherwise, it would have been taken care of. So you've done these transactions. You've bought and sold house, done wholesale deals. Some of these people haven't sold a house 20, 30 years. You just have to know a tiny bit more than they do to appear like an expert. And you're trying to sell things to them door to door. With this, you're not trying to sell. You're just trying to serve. If you can solve a problem at a high enough level, you can buy a house and make money. So divorce your desire from theirs. Okay. You go in there and focus on providing value. And then if you don't know, that's what this community is for. So don't feel like you have to have an answer right then. Be honest about it. You don't know the answer, but I'll be sure to find it for you. Come to my Facebook group. Come to Caroline's YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Come to our Instagrams. We answer questions all day long. So don't feel like you're gonna mess it up. You probably will. That's okay. I have a new acquisition guy, right?
Mhm.
He had done nothing with foreclosures 2 weeks ago. He now has 5 contracts with foreclosures because he's listened to what I tell him to do. But last night was a subject to appointment. We were
Mhm.
going to take the property down subject to. I've gone over it over and over and over with him, but it was the first time he had to go over it with a seller, and he was freaking out.
Yeah.
So he got the contract, but this morning we kind of debriefed, and he was like, I made all these mistakes. I didn't know how to answer the questions, whatever. And it's like, did the guy sign the contract? Yeah, he did. And what happened when you didn't know an answer? So that we would get on a call with me this morning. I would go over all those. As long as you have an expert in your corner, they don't care.
Mhm.
Okay? They don't know what they're doing either. So just appear confident, do the best you can. If you don't know the answer, be honest about that. They'll be okay with it.
That's a really good tip. I'm going to hang on 1 second, Blake. So, Michael, you have a new person. They already have 5 properties under contract. And they're new. Can you explain this lead that they locked up? What was their situation?
So I'm having him go back and forth between new notice of default, last 10-day foreclosure. That's all he's focusing on. So this one happened to be a last 10 days of foreclosure.
Okay.
The property, we could not get a hold of anyone. He skip traced it, found that a relative that he found in an obituary happened to be in a town next to this house, went out there and door knocked it, got information for the family that was living in the house, set it up. This is a probate situation. They had actually run it through probate already. The judge had awarded them ownership. But this whole time that it was in probate, the lender wouldn't talk to them, wouldn't let them make payments. So they got somewhere around 12 to 15,000 behind. Okay. He had a job. He could make the payments, but he could not afford the arrears.
Got it.
We met them out there. They owed probably 50 grand on a 225 house. And their only thing was we need to stay in this house. So this is a risk that a lot of people shouldn't take, but when you can buy a house at 20 cents on the dollar, to me, that's worth the risk. So we wrote up a subject to contract, should cash flow $400 or $500 a month. They're thrilled. We're thrilled. It's a match made in heaven there.
So when you say you did a subject to deal, is it now they're renting it, or what's going on with it?
So I will pay the arrears. I'll take ownership of the house.
Mhm.
They're going to rent at least for a while and see if it's a good fit for them. If not, we'll help them find new housing. But yeah, the seller's going to stay there. A lot of people will get angry that I do that, but it's a 6-figure deal for me.
Well, that's the thing too. Like,
he's experienced though, so this is new people should not be doing that. Michael's been doing this for 6 years, so it's
You
different.
find a situation like that, let Caroline or I or anyone in your market that's experienced know, wholesale that thing, make 10 or 20 grand. Let us take on that risk. You need to get those bank accounts right to where you have some breathing room.
As I told Caroline, I'm not allowed to do anything until my debt's paid off and I have 100 grand in my bank account. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. I like that.
Good stuff. Any other questions, Blake, before we can bring Eddie up?
nothing quick, so I'll come next time.
Well, nothing quick. What do you mean? Was it a tough question, or what do you mean?
Oh, of course, now the question is not going to come to me. Oh, as you're starting out in the sub 2 or just real estate in general, how do you what's the most important thing to you in finding qualities of finding a team? Because I'm kind of having a million different people talking to me right now with different offers, acquisitions, etc. And I'm kind of figured out what I think I want to do. Just as somebody a few years down the road, what do you kind of think about on that?
You're talking about the qualities in someone that you want to join their team?
Yeah, I want to work with quality people. Yes.
Okay. One, you need to see if you're a culture fit. Do you enjoy being with them? Do you enjoy spending time with them? Two, is this a person that you would like to aspire to be? Are they at a position to where it's like, I would really like to be that person in a handful of years?
Mm-hmm.
Those are two really good questions. Do you trust that person? Do you trust their expertise? There's a lot of questions you could ask. Do they have a good reputation online? There's a lot of things. I don't know, Caroline. You've joined a team more recently than I have.
Yeah, I was gonna honestly, I'd say similar things. I would ask them basically what Michael said. Do you know what you're doing? How many deals are you doing a month?
Mm-hmm.
What is your average assignment per deal? What is the commission structure? Like with my team, I was telling them they're going to get accurate, fast data. I'll be able to help them. We're going to jump on calls while they're learning everything. Because I had people I had one guy who's like really brand new to real estate, and I'm showing him everything. He doesn't have any sales experience. His first week of door knocking, we got a property under contract. We're doing a short sale, and that's taking a while. We have another property that he got under contract with the other person on our team together. They've been dealing with a lot of Spanish-speaking homeowners. So we're April, first week of April, hopefully we'll be closing. We're waiting for everything to go through on that. But I had the expectations of, this is what I expect from you. I need you guys to hit these standard KPIs every day. If you do this within 100 days, we should be having things closing for you. Mm-hmm. And then your expectation out of me is I should be able to have a CRM for you to work out of, have the contracts ready for you, giving you the data, giving you the coaching, being available. But when you're going to join a team, you need to figure out what your split's going to be and how much like the deals are on average, because like if you're going to go work with somebody and you're learning from them, like most people are for lease. Michael, how many sales guys do you think you've had since you've had your business?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay. There's going to be turnover. They're going to leave eventually, probably. I want to have a culture where they stay. I know Michael has a lot of people that stay. They get treated very well. But understanding what is expected of you, what does it look like to be there long term, really huge. And then I think it's really, I would say that's it. Just understand what the expectations are. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. What is going to be a good fit for me? And then do they have a culture fit? I think Michael covered that. One of the things that I really love, we've helped more homeowners keep their house than we've had bought their house, because we're leading with value and you're doing the right thing. So what was that deal you had, Michael, where one woman was like, if I could just get this much, I'd be really happy, and you paid her more than that? What was that situation?
That was the old classic 117 follow-up house.
Oh, okay.
Where she owed 68, and it was going to be life-changing for her to get 80 for it. And I told her I couldn't give her 80 and ended up giving her 100. So just that type of culture to where you're doing the right thing. It feels really good to make money, but it feels even better to change the course of someone's life. It's a cool thing. So you want to find a culture that feels that way about their clients. I would really look at their Google reviews. If you see a lot of negative stuff, perhaps the culture isn't too good. If they have a lot of good Google reviews, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Don't want to melt your mind anymore. You have action items, go do them.
Fair enough. And I'm just trying to keep up with all of them.
Yeah. One day at a time. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So take it from there. All right, Eddie, are you ready to come up stage? If you're not, I'm going to bring Santrell up here next. I know Eddie's at work right now. Oh, there we go to see him. What up, Eddie?
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Tell us. So who are you, Eddie? Where are you? Give Michael the whole spiel.
Sweet. So my name's Eddie. I am in NorCal, Chico, California specifically. It's a little college town up here. I've been in Sub 2 for 2 years. I've been taking action, kind of on and off, just because financial responsibilities, whatever. But now for the last 30 days, I've been following exactly what you guys are saying. I mean, play by play, using the same exact scripts. And I got my first deal in a little under 30 days. I got it locked up on Monday, and we found a buyer literally the next day. and I mean, it's been life-changing.
Congrats, man. What was the details of that deal? How'd you find it? What were the details there?
I was door knocking pre-foreclosures. So the homeowner was still in pre-foreclosure. He hadn't gotten an auction date yet. It's funny that the last day that we actually got it under contract, there was a notice on his door for his auction. So he had just gotten his auction. His auction was May 1st.
Had you had many conversations with sellers before this one, or?
Yeah, hundreds.
Okay. So how many doors do you think it took to get that first deal? I'm just interested in that.
So in my city of Chico, there's 23 foreclosures that I'm door knocking, and that was right by my house. So it was honestly the first house that I door knocked. And the first 2 times he didn't answer. By the 3rd time he answered, and he mentioned to me that his neighbor was going to buy the house.
Okay.
So I followed up with him in a couple days. He hadn't talked to his neighbor, and after that I came back around and he still hadn't talked to his neighbor. So after that we started the conversation of me actually purchasing the house. But first, before any of that, we actually went through all of his options. I door knock with this form that Caroline provided that has the 5 ways to stop a foreclosure. So I'm super transparent with them. I just went through line by line item, like, hey, is this an option? Can we maybe borrow the money? And just how you guys have done in your role plays, just literally went through every single option he had. And he got to a point where he's just like, I don't think any of these are an option. I think my only option is just to sell.
And that's
like, great.
That's the position where you want to be, where you're not selling, you're going through options, letting them disqualify themselves, and then the last option was you. So that's a beautiful feeling. Great stuff, man.
That's awesome, Eddie. I know he's at work right now. Congratulations. I'm going to take him off stage just because he's at work. Guys, it's not rocket science. We've gone over these many times. I want to also just make sure that you know we have so many previous recordings. Go to our YouTube channels. I will say that Michael has a team editing them very nicely and putting what we say underneath it as a transcription. Go watch our YouTube channels with all of this. We've covered what the 5 steps are many, many times. We want to help you guys out with that. All right. Santrell, I'm going to wait till Eddie's done with his work stuff. I'm going to bring you back up for now, though. How's it going, okay. Santrell? So good to see you.
Hey, it's great to see you. Hey, Michael, thank you both for being here. It is going really well. We are door knocking almost every day, we being my husband and I, because I promised him I wouldn't door knock by myself. So right before this, I had a follow-up call with a gentleman who owns a property. I'm in Georgia, about 45 minutes from Atlanta, and he's in California. And the tenant said that we were like the 100th people who knocked the door. He's getting calls all day and night. And he's like, you guys are the only people that I will answer because you genuinely want to help. You're the only people who asked me, what do I want to have happen? And said, can we help you do that? And so that made me feel really good. We had the same thing yesterday when we were door knocking the last house. She's like, she was talking to me through the door. And she was like, who is it? And I said, well, ma'am, I don't want to talk too loud because this is personal about your home. And she opened the door and she kind of creeped around more and more and got very comfortable with us. And she said, you know, I prayed this morning that I didn't know what to do. She had started making scenarios that she and her 2 daughters were going to be out on the street. She's like, I thought you were coming to tell me I had to get out. So we have a leave behind. We helped her with a lot of questions. You know, we've been texting back and forth, and we just follow up with people. So we don't go there trying to convince them, let us buy your house. What do you want to see happen? And then we look at what do you have in your hand to make that happen, and what is there something else that we can help you get to? So it's been going really well. Door knocking. My friend Julia, she and I, if she was here, I will always shout her out. We were talking in Walmart and she said, Santrell, just go do it. I went and did it. And when I tell you, it has not stopped, because that is the thing that gives us energy. And we do follow up via phone. Door knocking, You don't have to know everything. You just have to really go there genuine and reach your hand out to help people, and it will show. We know that the seeds that we are planting now, they are going to come up to harvest. They absolutely will, because people like how we treat them. So I do actually have a question, but I wanted to thank you because you guys are really laying a great foundation. This is all new. I did sales on the phone, but knocking on someone's door, I would have never have known that that was the thing that would energize me like it does. I wake up now thinking, we got to go help somebody who's waiting for me to come help them. So my question to you both is, I know, Caroline, I know the prices of houses in your area, they're higher anyway, but have either of you, do you have a cap to the house, the price that you will knock, even if they're in foreclosure? Like yesterday, we went into a very exclusive neighborhood, but we know even behind those doors, there are problems. But do you guys ever have a cap to a price that you'll knock?
Let me take this really quickly because I actually asked Michael this. So I'm going to take it first because I'm not as big as Michael. Okay. Michael's been doing this much longer than me.
Okay.
So Michael's in a position where he's handled way, like, guys, the expert questions. This is my office hours with Michael too. I ask Michael questions. When you guys are not on stage, I'm asking him stuff that I want to know. But Michael's already got a really well-oiled machine. I've just now started, like, I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit of a control freak. I was doing everything by myself. I've just brought in new people and I'm letting them be on my team. And I am sharing what's in my brain with them, and I'm creating processes because I've done deals by myself, but I want to share the wealth. So what have I been? I literally did this yesterday with my team. We have been helping, like, we've been hitting I texted Michael this yesterday. I was like, dude, are you like hitting everybody that comes out in pre-foreclosure? Or are you like niching down? Like, let's focus on these leads. I'm focusing on the leads right now with our team that have a lot of equity, that fit our seller profile, that we know we can, like, because I want them to make money faster. Do I want to help everybody in our market? Absolutely. But I only have 2 door knockers right now. And one of the, like, and the way we do stuff is an open door. Give me your feedback from how you've been knocking. And one of them was like, listen, I spent a tank of gas yesterday and I was only able to hit 4 houses because I've won a house for so long. And it would really, really aid into their time. So we are sifting through who needs the most help, who probably is not going to be able to catch up their mortgage. Okay. Who will most likely sell their house to us if nothing else works. And we're putting them at the top of their list. They're the hot priority that we're going after. We're still contacting the others, but they're not going to be as, like, we have multi-million-dollar homes here in gated communities. And I've talked with them before and I've called them and they're like, oh yeah, we got it figured out. We caught it up and they have it listed on market. So they're not bleeding. Like, this is not a pre-foreclosure house. This is another tip for you guys, another list. Because Michael does niche lists. He doesn't just do pre-foreclosures. And I can't wait for Q2. Q2, Michael's going to have his mentorship coming out. So I can't wait for that. But with his niche list, he also incorporates, and we've done this. I'm going to say one of our YouTube videos on here, he gave away a lot of sauce. You got to go back through and watch them. I'm not going to tell you which one it was. He broke down all of the lists that he contacts. But driving for deals. So I tell my team when they're going to their house, look for the crusty looking houses. So one of my door knockers, the app they used, the mapping app, it took him down to an alley or a side street. And he's like, where's the house that I need to go to? And they saw a crusty looking house. Overgrown, windows were held together by duct tape, shingles are missing on the roof, like trash overflowing. Went up, knocked the house. He's like, I don't even know. He literally told me, he's like, I don't know if anybody lives here. It looks really like, I hope nobody's dead inside. That's what he said. Knocked on the neighbors, found out, they're like, oh, that's Susie. She's nice. She's just our little hoarder lady. She's in her 70s. Had a conversation with her. I mean, kind woman. She's still about her wits, but terrible situation. She hasn't had water in 4 years.
Oh my God.
And when I was on the phone with her, she's like, yeah, I also have a little bit of a rodent infestation. I said, rodent infestation? She said, yeah, we have a rat infestation in the house. And I was like, what? Because her water hasn't been turned on, she also had not been paying her trash bill. So instead of taking her trash out, she'd been keeping her trash in the house. And now she has rodents. No water, rodents. She's like, my electricity is on, but it's a little sketchy in some areas. So, like, she's got a lot of problems. And what did I do? Was I like, hey, let me buy your house, let me buy your house? She did say that she wanted to sell it, but she wants to go through all of her options with the attorneys because she's convinced that the city is persecuting her for being in her 70s and taking advantage of elders. So hey, let's go give you all the options that we can. If we can help you get this caught up, because she doesn't have water. She's buying gallons of water every month. She's living on less than $1,000 a month. She's just overwhelmed. So she's going to be on the top of our list of who we hit. So I would say we're not focusing on everybody that's coming out. We are seeing them all. We're calling them, but we are focusing on the ones that will have the most juice for the squeeze. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Thank you. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Michael, I'm going to hand it over to you about the leads that you're hitting. Are you going to all the multi-million-dollar houses or $800,000 houses?
Our price points in Kansas City aren't quite as high as Phoenix, but something to consider. The people in those more expensive houses, just because they're in expensive houses doesn't mean they aren't human beings and don't have really difficult things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't just overlook them. I think that's more of a mental thing. Like, well, surely they have it figured out. They've got money. Well, clearly not. These people go through really big changes, just like the folks do at less expensive houses. So what I would think of it as, I would think of it this way. Where are the deals signed? They're signed right at the beginning when a notice of default is filed, or they're signed right at the end before the foreclosure sale. Mm-hmm. That's where I focus. Really, the price point matters not. Some of those expensive houses, they can give you your biggest spreads.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas a cheaper house, maybe you make 10, 15, 20 grand, which is awesome, but 6-figure deals might be available at those more expensive houses. So I wouldn't ignore them. I think that's some mind trash, thinking that we're not good enough to go work with people with expensive houses. And if you're not confident, bring in someone in your market that is. Right. They would love that opportunity. So I would just focus on where's the motivation at the beginning, at the end.
Okay.
Focus on those people. It really doesn't matter in terms of the price point. Do you want to take down those really expensive houses? Perhaps not. As a beginning. But that doesn't mean you can't wholesale them or solve the problem, get the sale postponed, find a really quality buyer that wants that type of product, and make a nice little rip on that.
Okay. And I appreciate you saying that, because that's exactly what we did. We saw a couple of vehicles in the driveway. They didn't answer the door, so we left a nice envelope and slid it in the door with our leave behind. And to Caroline's point, what we didn't know when we drove into that part of the subdivision is, as we were exploring, we ran into the lower end part of the subdivision that had a crazy looking house that we are looking into now because it's completely empty. So we kind of got a 2-for-1 in that one. So thank you both. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I want to touch on one more thing. So not that we're abandoning everything, but John just asked me this in the side chat. Do you door knock first, then call follow-ups? We call everything first. We're trying to call them first, and then we're going to go door knock them. That's just the way that my team does it in the morning. They're calling. I don't know, Mike. I know Michael, if they have them, they're trying to get them as soon as it comes into their CRM, they're out there at the property. That's their goal. We would like to do that too, but this is just the way they're structuring everything right now. And we're just seeing what works. So everybody does get contacted, but and this is the other thing, I don't know, Michael, you might do it different, but I've heard this phrase. You heard me as well. I think you're probably on the daily dial with me today, Santrell. A man convinced his will is of the same opinion still. If somebody's and I don't know if you saw me on the last Zoom, those people, like I had a guy hang up on me when I was talking to him, and I called him back and I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I think I have phone issues. He's like, no, I hung up on you. I just don't want to talk about this. I was like, okay, all right. I'm not going to. He doesn't want to talk to me right now. So I'm not going to put all of my energy on him. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add him into a sequence. He's going to get a text message. And again, like Michael said, where's the motivation? At the beginning and at the end. So we're in the funky spot. We're just going to keep giving him value and then touch base with him. You have anything else you want to say there, Michael, before we go to the next one? No, we're good. All right, Santrell. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, we got a lot of people on here. Eddie, I want to give you one more chance because I know you've been waiting with your camera on. Anything else you want to say before we move on to Darian?
No, I mean, just advice for everyone. Just continue doing, exactly what, Caroline and Michael are talking about every single Thursday. With that, kind of just touching back on that deal, I just led with value. That's just the biggest thing, the biggest difference. That's actually what's getting me probably my next deal is this young couple. They pretty much were frustrated with all the phone calls and people that were showing up, and they were completely surrendered. They were to a point where they didn't think that anyone can help them. And I think that's why that they were just pushing everyone off, because she initially hung up on me. Well, she called me back from my note, and then she hung up on me and then called me back. And I just sort of was like, hey, I just want to help, see what I can do. And she's like, no one can help me. I owe too much. And I walked, again, just walked through all the process, and none of them were an option. And then she's like, okay, well, if I can save my house from going from foreclosure, that would be the most help.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing that. Good stuff, Eddie. Way to go. Keep going.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Good job,
Thank
Eddie.
you, man. All right, let's go to Darian, then we're going to get to David next. Darian, what's up, dude? I know that you're new, even coming in on some Zooms. What you got for us?
Hey, guys. How are you? Thank you for all you give. No, my name is Darian. I'm here in Miami. I'm from Cuba. Been in United States for 12 years right now. New in this war of the sub-2 and all these things you are doing. I go out few days ago and I knocked in 5 doors already in foreclosure for in 1 week, and they don't let me go in. They all say, hey, we are working with lawyer already, and I let that go.
That's a great one. Michael actually had a really good rebuttal that I learned from him. And this is what I've done with a few people. There's a key to it. Make sure it's an open-ended question here. So, hey, you're already working with a lawyer? That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. What solution did that lawyer give you to stop this foreclosure?
Interesting. No, I didn't do that.
That's okay. Hey,
I don't do that.
What you're looking for is an intelligent response. So when you ask them, hey, what solution did that lawyer give to you? They'll either say, oh, they had me do X, Y, and Z. And it's very clear that they're educated on it. In that situation, they're probably being truthful. If they just say, well, I don't know, I'm just working with them, or something goofy like that, where they don't tell you what they're doing, most likely they're deflecting, they're putting their head in the sand. Those are the people that you need to keep asking penetrating questions to find an entrance. So don't be afraid to ask people questions. It's not going to hurt anything.
No, I assume like this guy are scared of me. That's why don't let me go in. That's what I assume.
I don't always get into a house, though.
It's possible. Yeah. But buyers are liars, sellers are worse. The old paceism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep going as follow-up. And if you get the right, give them a little leave behind. Give them like, here's my phone number. Just, it's all follow-up. And then again, Michael just said, the beginning of the notice of auction, and then at the end, right before the house goes to auction, they're going to have to make a decision.
I was thinking go tomorrow again to knock again. Maybe let me go. Maybe.
Then they'll recognize your face, and then they'll show, hey, you're persistent. You're coming to keep helping me. Perhaps tomorrow will be different. That's the name of the game.
Yes, I hope so.
Good stuff, Darian. Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Good. Thanks for coming on here. All right, I'm going to bring up David here next. Before I do, just because we have a lot of people on here right now, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, grab your phone, put on your alarm. We started 38 minutes ago. Every Thursday, we are live at 12 o'clock Arizona time. So jump in here, ask us questions. I was already taking some notes. Maybe we need to do a Q&A where we bring people up here once a month so you guys can ask us more questions. We want to make it possible for you guys to get immediate responses from us. So David, I'm going to bring you up on stage. What you got for us? I can see you, but I cannot hear you. Make sure your microphone is selected. Nope, not yet.
Always love the panic of trying to figure out where the right button is.
While we're waiting for you to get your microphone, I'm going to bring Nick up here because I know Nick is ready to roll. Nick, what you got for us?
What's going on, Caroline? How are you?
Yo, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Okay, good. Hey, Michael, how are you, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, brother. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about partial claims. That's
been the hot topic in my DMs lately. Everyone's talking about partial claims.
It's probably me. I definitely messaged you about it. I have a lady that I'm working with, FHA loan, of course. She's way behind when it comes to nothing's going to work for her. I mean, besides a short sale, would probably be the only, option in the sense to maybe get it to work. But in the sense, if we could probably get the partial claims from what I do know about it, we could sub to it. And if I needed to, I can just wrap from there and call it a day. But again, I just wanted to see, what you believe your steps are, the process to make it work correctly. And correctly. We'll say those words.
So I've done quite a number of them in terms of buying houses with partial claims on them. In terms of helping the seller do a partial claim a couple of times. Every state's going to have a little bit different process and a little bit different of an assistance fund. What state are you in?
Texas.
Okay. So we have a program called Safer here to where they can apply for those funds. It's as simple as providing them, a number of pieces of paperwork, and you get either accepted or denied. For us, they give up to $40,000 in arrears. I don't know if you've looked into assistance funds down there in Texas,
not.
But most states have something, and oftentimes they will either, if they get approved, they will supply that money to pay off of the arrears, and they'll put it as a lien on the house at a 0% interest rate.
Yep.
That's basically what a partial claim is. Then you could buy the house subject to. You wouldn't be responsible for those arrears at the time. It would be when you would go sell the house at some point or refi out or do whatever to extinguish that loan that money would come due.
You would see it as like a second in the sense.
Yeah, it's like a second mortgage, but it doesn't have an interest rate or anything.
Gotcha. Now, have you seen people purchasing, obviously, because if you're going to use the partial claims and the homeowners have to do it at that point, they sometimes don't want to sell their home. Have you seen the case or been through the case where people are buying and then doing it themselves?
Yeah. No, I suggest people go do that. I mean, there's situations where we're not the solution. They don't want to sell their house. They don't want to sell it subject to or cash. It's just not going to happen. So at that point, we just provide them resources. I've had several different people that really none of my options worked. They were 30, 40, 50 grand behind. They didn't have much equity. So just giving them some pointers on how to apply for those assistance funds. They get that money, pay everything up, and then they're in a great situation. I get a Google review. I've helped people like that a bunch of different times. So.
Gotcha. Now, have you heard people actually getting people under contract and then doing the partial claim themselves? In the sense, trying to say it in different ways, You
definitely want them to do the work. You can obviously guide them. That's the same thing as filling out bankruptcy paperwork for them, filling out loan modification paperwork. Sure, you can give them a hand, but I would distance yourself from those things. But it can be a great solution. I've seen it done many, many times.
I was talking to an investor, and I'm obviously not going to mention names, of course, where got it under contract in the sense of kind of like they sold it. He's calling, they handle the partial claims, and obviously that puts him in a way better position. Has that anything that you've done yourself or, have any insight on that?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Got the customer client under contract, as in, hey, I'm buying it for this amount. And at that point, or doing a subject to and actually closing in the sense, filling and completing all the paperwork and then calling themselves to get that partial claim set up and getting it reduced. So, my guess is in the event they don't want the homeowner to back out, of course, because if they do the partial claims themselves. Yeah. So I just wanted to see if you had any insight on that.
I try to distance myself from those situations.
Yeah.
There are situations where it can be helpful. At the end of the day, I want things to be in the best interest of the seller, not necessarily me. So there's gray areas of what's right and what's wrong. I don't know what that line is.
That was
at the end of the day, it's pretty much submitting paperwork to whatever entity it is in your market. They either approve or deny. They send those funds over and they place it as a 0% lien.
Gotcha. And that doesn't go to the lender. That actually goes to, like you said, a Safer here and the assistance fund. You're not actually calling the lender on that.
I'm sure. I hate to say
do a
something when
partial
it's
claim?
different in every market. In our
I gotcha.
market, it's a combination of working with the assistance fund and the lender.
Okay. Awesome, man. I appreciate that.
That's funny. Everyone's interested in the assistance funds lately.
What can we do?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I
a
don't think
valuable
this.
tool.
Yeah, I don't think this lady's made a payment. That's she's probably at least a year back. My guess is she did COVID initially, and I mean we're looking like $45,000 behind. So that's our only option, only way. Again, unless we try a short sale. So I just didn't know if there was something there that we can make it a faster process, because I believe partial claims is a lot faster than short sale.
Yeah. I mean, partial claims you can get approved pretty quick in our state. I don't know what the timeline is on others, but
Awesome.
and I know at some point funds were running really low in our state, so people were getting denied more. I don't know if that's the case in other states.
In Arizona, they're getting denied. Nobody's able to get anything
really?
in Arizona right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Somebody found a loophole and everybody used it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I appreciate all your help, man. I mean, y'all are doing awesome. I mean, I'm going through your Zooms right now, just listening and learning, man. That's it. You're doing an awesome job, man. I appreciate it. I definitely like to talk to you one day about your CRM and see how you're rolling that, so that we can make sure it's going. We're using it in the right way.
Good deal.
I'm sure you have it set up.
Conversation sometime.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks for coming on here, Nick. That's awesome. All right, David, let's give you another shot here. Let's see. Can we hear you?
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
We can. What's up, dude?
Awesome. Okay, just briefly introduce myself. My name is David Navarrete. I'm pretty new to real estate, especially pre-foreclosures, until I started following Michael and Caroline. I do have a couple questions. I live in Kansas City, actually, so same market as Michael, but I'm kind of wondering about the difference between working pre-foreclosures in a judicial state like Kansas versus a non-judicial like Missouri. So could you guys possibly like go over some of the obstacles that you might run into when working these prospects?
So I don't treat them much differently in terms of how I market to them. In Missouri, they have the appointment phase or the notice of default. So there's probably a week to 30-day period where it sits in that spot. Then it moves to foreclosure. In Kansas, it doesn't have that period. They just schedule the foreclosure. So the only difference really in terms of how you think about it is how the foreclosure sales are conducted. On the Missouri side, you have someone come and buy the house. They immediately own it, right? They can immediately start fixing, flipping it. They can do all kinds of stuff. In Kansas, it's the wild, wild west. If a house forecloses, then you have redemption rights. You have all kinds of different things. Just because you buy something, foreclosure sale, you have the right to buy it down the line if the redemption rights expire. So really, it's just a matter of how those foreclosure sales function in each different state and the rights of the seller afterwards. And sometimes in Kansas side, judicial side, the thought process with the seller is a little bit different. They don't necessarily care as much about a timeline because they know if a house forecloses, that's not the end for them. They can still pay off the note, get their house back. So the thought process is a little bit different. Whereas in Missouri, that house forecloses, it's gone. So they got to take action a little bit. I don't know if that helps, but largely it's similar except for what happens when the house forecloses.
Okay. So essentially, like what you're saying is that if it does foreclose, then even like, for example, someone that buys it at an auction, it's not guaranteed that they're going to be able to keep that house if the seller or the person in foreclosure like is able to come up with the money afterwards.
In Missouri, non-judicial, the house forecloses and a third party buyer like myself buys it, the house is gone. It's the investor's house. In Kansas, depending on several different factors, one being how much equity you have in the house, two being if the house is vacant, you have anywhere between 3 and 12 months to redeem that property, pay off the note.
Okay.
Okay. During that time, the investor that bought it at the foreclosure sale, they're getting paid interest on their money, usually like 6%. Okay. At the end of that redemption period, if it's not redeemed, that investor that buys it at the foreclosure sale gets the house.
Okay.
But during that time, that whole redemption period, I can buy the seller's redemption rights. So I could go straight to them and say, hey, I'll buy your redemption rights for $10,000. Get a notarized document. Then I have to pay the amount that the person paid at the foreclosure sale plus the amount for buying the redemption rights. Then the house is mine.
Okay.
That's a whole lot of junk right there. But like I said, the Kansas side is the wild, wild west. If you want to talk about it sometime, we can. But don't overthink judicial versus non-judicial. It's just a different timeline, different way of handling the foreclosure sale and rights of the homeowner.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that very valuable information. If I may, I do also have another question in terms of the process. Okay. So, are we always able to promise to stop or postpone an auction to whenever speaking to these prospects, or are there like instances where we shouldn't do that?
I mean, there's no guarantees. I talk about my track record of what we do, that I have a really experienced team, that my title company is friends with all of the foreclosure attorneys. We very, very, very rarely have a house that gets foreclosed on that we're working on. So no, there's no guarantees. We're going to do our absolute best. As long as you guys are timely in giving us the information we need and we're proactively working together, we should be fine.
Okay.
But no,
Awesome.
I wouldn't throw 100% guarantee. That's a lose-lose situation there.
Gotcha. And kind of going off of that, is it okay to be able to offer to do that before getting a contract with them?
Yeah. Heck yeah, you're providing value. Of course, you'd rather have the contract. That way it's a higher leveraged use of your time. But sometimes you have to prove yourself and prove that value before they're willing to do anything with you. I mean, what higher value is it than stopping a sale when you don't have any interest in the property? Now they may, leave you and go do their own thing. Fine. But down the road, they're more than likely going to go through the cycle again. Then if David stopped my sale last time and I can't figure it out this time, who's buying the house? It's David.
Right.
So play the long game. You're here to serve. Sometimes you don't make any money. That's okay. The ones that you do will make up for it.
Awesome.
It's not a sprint. These are good questions, David. I want you to come back next week and tell us how many doors you knocked.
Awesome. I will do that.
Where are you working, David?
I'm actually working at the QA office here in Lenexa.
Okay.
Yeah, I work as a mechanical engineer designing power plants.
Interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thanks for coming on here. We want to see you again. Andrew, are you there? Andrew's been like in the background for a while. I want to make sure he can get up on stage. There we go. What's up, Andrew? I'm going to give you a few minutes here so we can get to Sheno next. I see you, but I cannot hear you. I don't know if you have your audio connected. No, I can't. All right.
Bro on a walk or something? What are we doing?
Yeah, he's out on a walk. So Sheno, you're getting bumped to the top while Andrew figures out his audio issues. He's taking his dog for a walk. She also was somebody who was telling me about having a lot of success. Sheno, can you hear us? And she just had her camera on. All right, I'm gonna wait for her to bring her camera back on. She came on.
Made everyone fall asleep with my redemption rights.
She was on my, there we go. There she is. Okay, now we can see her. Hello.
There we go.
Oh my God, so nice to meet you, Michael and Caroline. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as I can see, I'm driving for, I'm door knocking today. 2 questions. So one, probate situation. So the owner deceased, there's heirs. And then usually, I know, Michael, you pay for the attorney, probate attorney. And how can we guarantee? Let's say that the heir find out, okay, once they open the probate, oh, maybe we can sell the house to somebody else, right? They might start shopping around who will be the best, offer. So how do you prevent that? Like, Michael, you're the only person I want to sell my parents' property. How do you do that, Michael?
It's interesting. We had this conversation in my Facebook group last night. People asked how I handled that. Now, I'm not paying for the probate until I have a contract. I'm upfront with them on that. It's like, hey, technically, if you sign this contract right now, the paper's not really worth much. The house isn't in their name. Legally, it's not worth anything. But if I'm going to pay for this, I really need some sort of interest in the house. So I have them sign a contract. For us, it's usually $2,000 to $3,000 for probate, half up front. So for me, with what I have made in the past on probate deals, it's a cost of doing business. It's very, very rare for anyone to back out on me by the time I've built up enough trust with them, explained to them the whole probate process, got them in touch with my attorney, gotten a contract, paid for the probate. They're not working with anyone else unless I really botch it somehow. So to me, it's a cost of doing business. Maybe once every 10 times they back out on you. Well, if you did 10 deals and you made 20 grand a pop, I'll lose $1,000 to make 200. That's just the way I feel about it. It's just a cost of doing business. But is there a way to truly secure it? Not necessarily. You could file equitable interest on the house after you get the contract and pay for the probate. So that's something you could do if you really wanted to protect yourself.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Great question. Hey, wait, don't say thank you very much. You got to tell him what you've done. What did you tell me on Zoom the other day?
What did I? Hey guys, I've been following Caroline and Michael's path. Literally, I copy everything. I listen, you guys, while I'm driving from A to B. Okay, what Caroline said, what Michael said. So literally, I've just been following you. I'm copying. I'm like a copycat. And thank you guys so much. And then,
hey, why reinvent the wheel?
So what happened by copying off of us, though?
Well, my first deal, I only had $65 in my bank account, and then back in October, I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to pay my rent? And then finally, the homeowner, I knocked the door. He said yes, and then I just made $20,000 for the first deal.
Beautiful.
It is nuts, I'm so happy.
That was me in 2014.
I know that was first door. You knocked, you find an auction in a zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exact. Sometimes we have to be backed into a corner to really find that inner ability to find success. So I love it. So
thank you so much, really. Thank you guys so much. I couldn't be this this far without you guys. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So happy to meet you.
I have one more. You told me about one other deal. What's the other deal going to be closed at?
Another one. Okay, so I've been following, like you guys say, always follow up. So the homeowner I've been following since October. He filed bankruptcy, but I just been following him like once a month. Have a coffee with him, go to a coffee shop, coffee together. And then 2 weeks ago, I just, I'm just gonna pitch. Maybe he seemed to be really struggling. Like, hey, I don't know how long you're gonna keep doing this, but maybe you wanna sell your house. I'll take care of it. And then he said, you know what, it's time. And that, well, I have an end buyer. We open the escrow, EMD on the way. Wish me luck.
When's that supposed to close?
By the end of this month. I'm looking for the permit for him. So,
what do you think the assignment's going to be on that one too?
That's going to be $35,000.
Oh, 35,000.
Let's go. $65 to over 50,000 in profits. Love it.
That's awesome. Shinyo, so proud of you. Way to take imperfect action and way to get out there. Also, you look so cute when you're door knocking. I would open my door for you.
Oh, thank you.
Have a good day, Shinyo. Keep going. Tell us more.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See ya. All right, we're gonna get to Andrew. He's the last one I can see right here. Andrew, let me hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Long time no see, guys. Michael, I was wondering if I know you do a little bit of inbound marketing, don't you? Some PPC or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So we started our first PPC campaign like mid-January. And I was wondering, how is your approach different from, because we're basically, we've specialized in foreclosures as well. So we're used to the outbound, all the different foreclosure instruments that we talk about. But I mean, inbound marketing can be any situation. So like, what is different about your approach when you're working at inbound lead?
So inbound lead is very similar to outbound. You want to do speed to lead. So if you had a PPC campaign, someone sent their lead in, you best be on the phone within 60 seconds of that thing coming in. Because what's the thought process of the seller?
Yeah, they're going to click on
I'm
another
going to do
website.
this site. Oftentimes, they're just wanting one offer. Okay, but then what happens to the ones where it's like, I put my address in, 123 Main Street, no phone number, no nothing. The average person is just going to say, this lead is trash or whatever. That's when you start doing outbound. So if they say 123 Main Street and that's your only information you have, every other investor quit. What is Andrew going to do? Andrew's going to go door knock that house. Andrew's going to go skip trace that address and track them down. Sometimes you have to do a little sleuthing. So if you really want to maximize your ROI with inbound, you have to do some outbound strategies too, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And I realized, like, I don't know what I was expecting from inbound leads. I figured they just submitted a form and they're going to answer their phone immediately or call me. And that wasn't the case. Like, I think the first lead we got that was actually a decent lead, I had to call like 5 or 6 times over the course of a day or two. And then I had to go door knock them and finally got an appointment from that.
Just like outbound, inbound, you're going to have to sift through a lot of trash to find the gold.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to follow up with these people and do things that other people aren't willing to do to get the deal. No form of marketing is easy.
Right.
They all work. It's just a matter of doing enough of it.
So what, how much of your business comes from outbound versus inbound?
So we do television, we do direct mail, we do some of those pay per lead sites. I would say 30 to 40% of our stuff is from inbound.
Okay.
60-70% is from outbound.
Okay.
So it's a decent balance.
Got it. And one of the reasons why we started incorporating inbound is, like, I guess the inconsistency with deal flow when it comes to pre-foreclosures. Is that kind of why you did it too, or just get more deals, obviously? But for us, like, some months we'll close 3, 4, 5 in a month. Other months we'll do like maybe 1. So we kind of thought if we're getting inbound leads, it's gonna stabilize our deal flow a little bit more. Have you seen like more consistent deal flow from incorporating inbound?
So I've done inbound before I did pre-foreclosures. I've done that in the very beginning.
Got it.
The outbound pre-foreclosure niche list stuff was a supplement to what I was already doing. So if you want to, you would like to have some balance, because there are times where inbound is not doing well and outbound is doing great, and vice versa. So you'd like to have both, but both strategies work really well. You just have to be consistent. Follow up with your leads. It's the fundamentals.
Hey, I muted you, Andrew. Cover your mic. It's really windy, so I'm going to unmute you, but it's really windy. Go ahead.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so I've had a few sellers that, like, when I'm sitting in their living room at an appointment trying to get them to sign, I've had to justify price, and then others I haven't had to at all. And they literally, and I think the ones that I haven't had to justify price to, I've done so much value I've given them so much value up front and like just pitched so well that, and they're in such distress that they don't even really question the price. But with the seller that is like really harping on how you're getting to your number, like how do you build in your assignment fee and still make it make sense? Because like what I've done is just, and I don't feel good about doing this. I kind of fluff the numbers a little bit. So like I'll show them ARV comps and I'll kind of run them through the whole, like I'll start from the after repair value, work my way down, but I'm still not being like fully transparent. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I don't follow that conversation path at all. I'm not talking about comps. I'm not talking about any of that. It's all about what's your ideal realistic outcome. What would you like to see happen? I want to have enough money to pay off my car, have first and last month's rent, maybe 6 months rent. Okay. How much do you think all of that's going to cost? $25,000. If you could have $25,000 in your bank account, is this something that you would want to move forward with? Yeah. I don't like giving offers. I like providing value and working backwards, because what happens when you give an offer? You're a commodity. I just posted this in my story earlier. I had a guy that messaged me and said, I keep giving offers over the phone for houses in pre-foreclosure and then they ghost me. What did I do wrong? Well, they got what they wanted from you.
Right.
A number. Then they're going to go shop. So if it's all about price, if it's all about money, then they're not able to connect with you and the value you can provide. You're just dollar signs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Okay, cool. I think that's it for me.
Great questions, Andrew. Same thing. Let us know how it goes with the outreach that you're doing. All right, everybody, we're actually over on time on this. So I just wanted to know really quickly, was this live valuable for you? Michael, I got to get you my login because I know it goes to your YouTube, but I can't, nobody on your YouTube channel is seeing my comments unless I put it up on screen.
I'm not the tech guy. I'll let someone else figure that out.
But guys, if you found any value, please let us know in the side chat. Tell us what worked for you. What would you like to see us cover? We did just create a chat on Instagram. You guys can message us, or you can answer on Instagram. Tell us your biggest questions. That way we can figure out through the week what we should bring into these Thursday meetings that we're doing. This is time out of our business, time away from our families. We want to just continue leading with value. You heard some really great stories today from people copying off of what we have done. I did see one person earlier said, what is the roadmap that you guys have laid out? Where is it? It's pretty simple. We've done it a few times. I think what we need to do is just label next week and make it the roadmap and maybe go over that, or make a small video we can post on our thing. I'm just going to add it as a note right here, but I'm going to keep it simple. Find houses, go hit them, follow up with them, lead with value. Do not quit until the auction date. Talk to them, talk to them, talk to them. That's the secret. Would you say anything else, Michael?
Consistency and truly caring.
Yeah.
You'll get deals.
That's what it is, guys.
There's plenty of people in today's show that have proven that.
It's as simple as that. So if you need something immediately, be persistent. I can message later on Instagram. Michael does Saturday morning Q&As. Go take imperfect action, guys. We love hearing you guys saying, I didn't know what I was doing. I watched you guys. I used what you guys have said. I copied off of the documents you've provided. That's what we're here for. It's all free 99. We just ask that you share this, like this, tell somebody else about it. Show up on Thursdays at 12 o'clock Arizona time, 2 o'clock Central time. We'll see you next Thursday. Michael, thank you for carving time out and sharing all of your secrets. Can't wait to see what you have in store for Q2.
Love it.
All right. Bye, everybody.